just yet, but I just want to make sure, if you want to speak tonight as the public, I need you to, I'll help you fill it out right quick, just basically your name and what topic is you want to talk about. Is everybody giving me the floor that wants to speak from the public? Commissioners, you guys have to raise your hand and call them. Okay, we're good? All right, I believe it's 4:15, and we'll call the meeting to order, and we'll ask Commissioner Tony Smith to lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for another wonderful day. Lord, bless this group of people that we're here tonight to conduct the business for our county, where it's most equal and fair for every individual in our county. Lord, bless our troops that are fighting for our rights, our way of freedom, our current way of life. Lord, bless the people that are sick and need your helping hand and your guidance. In thy name we pray, amen.
Amen. And I believe all the commissioners and representatives are present, 100% present. All right, so the first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the July 25th.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, motion second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so now we're ready for public comment, and we're still new at this as well. As you know, the state has put formal structure in place to make sure the public has the opportunity to address the body of the appropriate committee on topics and issues. So I have two folks that have put their information forward wanting to speak. The first one here is Kathy, is it Vassie? I'm sorry, if you come right up to the front here, and she states that she wants to speak regarding the wheel tax.
Okay, so I am Kathy Vickery. I live over on Walker Road, the Beech Grove, almost Coffee County side, but not quite. And I am questioning the wheel tax for a few reasons. The first one is just I don't understand why it's being brought up again after there's been so much opposition to it. And I certainly realize that at times we need money and we have to do things that the people don't want, but it does show a bit of a lack of care or concern about what the people want. But on that flip side of knowing that we need money sometimes and we can't always do what everyone wants, you just passed a balanced budget that included efforts to get the schools out of their portable housing, included salary increases, among many other things. So it does not appear that we need additional funds at this point in time. And looking at the 6/30/22 financials, which again, I'm a year behind, but that's all I have available to me. There was a net positive increase that year of $12.7 million. Again, making it appear that we don't need to raise additional funds from our property taxes. There's $50 million in cash and investments that may or may not be restricted and earmarked for certain things, but again, it looks like there's a big store of money and not a need for an additional fund increase. 26 million of that is in the debt service fund, with only 15.5 million for principal and interest payments over the next 2 years. Again, supporting that we don't need to raise additional funds over our current tax revenue. And the last point I'd like to make is the wheel tax is not federally tax deductible to the citizens. So it is not any benefit to them, unlike property taxes. So I find it just not a good way to raise money because it has no benefit overall to the citizens other than raising money for the county. Thank you.
Thank you. One more. Cynthia Parks. She said it all. All right. All right. All right. Thank you so much. All right, so we're done with the public comment part. We're on to the next item on the agenda. Under new business, just so happened the first item is Commissioner Adam Thomas and Commissioner Drew Hooker asked that the wheel tax, property tax reduction be placed for conversation. So they're going to come to the podium and we'll see what they have to present.
I do have copies of the proposal, so you can kind of see the reasoning behind it as well as talk about that. Number one, I would also ask that the committee consider not making any action today. What I would like to do is put this on record and then let it sit for 30 days to give the public the amount of time to be able to discuss it, be able to reach out to us as the commissioners, and then it'll give me time to be able to go out and Commissioner Thomas to go out and speak with the public, because we've been doing that over the last 3 months with both many people for it and many people against it, and there was a lot of reasons behind the two. The reason it's being brought up now is because through discussions with many individuals throughout the county, we're identifying that we have a couple needs that are not addressed in our budgetary process currently, as well as looking to the future. And one of that is school building construction and maintenance, wanting to try to get ahead of that, because I'm looking down the line and we are continuing to grow. We're continuing to add students into the community, and we always have to come back and try to find money, and where we find that is usually on the property tax. And so I want to be able to look at that. The second thing is the volunteer fire departments. Volunteer fire services across the country are losing volunteers at a high rate of speed, and I want to be able to help them. I've spoke with many of the fire chiefs in this community, and we're seeing that several of them are struggling to, number one, do fundraising. The second thing is be able to recruit enough volunteers. So part of this proposal would address some fundage for the volunteer fire departments. Now, with that, I would like to try to start back at the beginning. Again, we sent out a copy. The number one thing that I would like to point out is that there would be a property tax reduction in this of 19 cents. That is estimated. I've spoke with both with Tanya Davis as well as others, that this would be between $110 and $400 reduction across the board for most, if not all, of our property owners. And with that, it allowed us to be able to go and identify how many vehicles we currently have, and the fee breakdown would be $48 for the passenger vehicle, motorcycle plates of $25, commercial plates at $130, semi-trailers at $100. And then the two main categories that we wanted to make sure that we did not impact was our farmers and our disabled veterans, and both of those would be zero. And so we wanted to make sure that we were not negatively impacting our farmers and our disabled veterans. So that, in turn, with all of the current growth that we have and the 60,000 plus vehicles that we have in the county, would bring in an estimated $3.399 million. Now, off the top, 73% of that would go straight to replacing the property tax. And so overwhelming majority of this is to try to bring down property taxes in the county. 3 years in a row, the property tax owners have taken the blunt of the raises, and this is trying to be able to help spread out that burden to all citizens that are adults in this county. And so with that, that is the motivation behind that. It is not a money grab. It is not trying to bring in additional money to the county. What this is trying to do, not one penny goes into the general budget. The $850,000 would go into capital outlay for educational purposes, and the $101,000 would go directly to the volunteer fire departments. Not one penny would go into the general budget. This is not to get additional money for anybody, no salaries. This is not trying to do anything on the county side. This is trying to help our schools and trying to help those volunteer fire departments. So with that, there are some provisions that we would like to implement in this plan, and we have done so in the resolution. Number one, that we have dictated that the wheel tax cannot be raised more than $5 per year. Along with that, the wheel tax the rate cannot change unless it goes back to referendum. And that was the other point that I should have mentioned from the get-go, is this would not be a decision at the county commission level. This would be for referendum for the people to decide. The other is that the funds would be permanently placed at the above percentages of what we talked about, and then any change of those percentages would be required to have a 2/3 vote of the commission. And with that, also senior citizens that qualify for tax relief would also be exempt from the wheel tax. We have tried very hard to protect the vulnerable individuals in our county to make sure that we did not add an increased burden on them. but they also would reap the benefits of the 19-cent tax reduction for those senior citizens. And so we looked at different ways. This is not something we came up with overnight. We've been working on it for 3 months. We have spoke with many, many individuals in this county. We spoke with many of the employees of the county, and we're trying to find the best way to impact our Bedford County citizens. And this is something that we truly feel that we need to try to do, is to try to lower property taxes in the county. And at the current time, this is the option that we feel like that is the quickest option to be able to impact our taxpayers and get their tax reduction.
And as Drew said earlier, this entire wheel tax proposal, property tax reduction, would be decided on by the voters. It would be referendum. The commission themselves are not going to make this. This is going to be up to the population to decide if they want this. This is not going to be something that is forced upon the county. It's going to be up to the county if they want this.
I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board has.
First one I got is, I assume that we is referring to you two.
Yes.
Are the ones that are putting this forward. This did not come from the finance.
No, this come from me and Commissioner Thomas.
And it's one of the first things that I would be interested to know is who asked you for money and how'd you figure out what the amount was that you would do?
So this is based off the conversations that we've had throughout the county, but a lot of it was talking with the proposal that Commissioner Vick and Commissioner Boutwell, and I know this doesn't fit the entire amount, but what we were trying to do is be fair on both the taxpayer side for the property tax owner, and then be able to bring in as much revenue as possible for those particular building projects.
You said earlier, you talked to the employees, what department the employees have been talking to, because I have not received a phone call.
No, I'm not. I was not able to talk to all. We went and met with.
You said numerous.
We've met with Tanya Davis. We've met with Donna Thomas. We've met with John T. Bobo, and then again, I've met with dozens and dozens of constituents to be able to discuss this, both for and against.
We're going to talk to very few employees.
Now, again, we are still working through that process, and that's why we're asking for the 30 days to continue this conversation. This is not just that's why we're not asking for you to make any decisions today. We're continuing to talk through this to be able to put forth the best proposal possible.
Well, I also have another question for this committee, Mr. Chairman. Nothing against anything. The county needs revenue sources. That's what we've done back in budget time. We weren't talking about wheel tax, we were talking about trying to find revenue up to the county. Wheel tax is just one of those items. So that all got misconstrued and all the stuff that went on. So I don't know if we're for the record, everybody understands that. It was just a revenue, looking for revenue sources from the state government to allow us to look for it. I have a little bug with this because I've done my own homework. Everybody who's sitting on this committee, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else, this is just more. The people sitting on this finance committee, by you, and by another commissioner, and another commissioner, said every single one of us sitting here at this table is ignorant, stupid, and dumb. That may be what people think, but I want to make sure to ask the question that I'm probably not as stupid as what I look, what I act like. So I have reached out to CTAC to ask about procedure, about how things happen. Nothing personal against you or your proposal, but according to what my information is from CTAC, is this is against state law. Two commissioners bring something before the table. I do not want to be a part of something illegal at all. I'm as honest as the day is long, and I'll make the right decision for the people and what I need to do with fitting it. So I would like to make sure, I would like to put a motion that this be researched by CTAS of how this procedure works with two commissioners who have to vote on it. According to CTAS, this is a violation of the Sunshine Law, because they've already admitted, they've already talked to other people too, so I want to make sure that whatever we do, whenever it comes back next month, we are all, you included, we're all legally doing the right thing for the citizens of this community.
So is your motion to defer this for clarification from CTAS?
Well, they want it deferred anyway to next month, but I would like to have,
Yeah, and just to answer your question, our first conversation was with John T., and we did request that and ask that we make sure we were in compliance with Sunshine Law. And when we spoke with him and met with him, he was in agreement with that.
I didn't call John T, because John T worked for the county.
Mhm.
I called CTAS, who works for all 95 counties in the state. And they have state law supersede John T's law, county law, or anything else. So that's why I wanted to hear it straight from the horse's mouth about what we can do and what we can't do. I've been in this government work for a long time, and I've never done anything illegal or wrong, and I'm not going to start at this point.
Well, and I wouldn't ask you to.
No, and I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying, this is not a dig towards y'all. The county needs to look at revenue sources going forward. I was a big proponent of that when we come up the first time. But we got to do it the legal and right way, because this could turn around and bite anyone and all of us, especially this whole community. It could bite y'all as commissioners, it could bite the mayor, it could bite all of us if we don't do it the right way. I'm not saying it's not the right time to talk about it, what I'm saying is, I support
Make
this.
sure the process is correct.
Make sure the process is correct, and I want an opinion from CTAS saying that it's either correct or we need to change some rules here on the county side.
Now, I think Commissioner Yaki wanted to make a comment.
Okay.
Are you making the motion, or are you just talking at the moment?
So I'm making a motion that I
That
would
we
like to
defer
reach
it?
out to, well, they want to defer it anyway the next month, correct? So I'm not going
Yeah,
against
but their
what they
request
want.
and the action of the board is not necessarily the same.
But,
I mean, that's their request, but the
Okay.
action of this board
yeah, I would
would
like
be,
to defer this and stop this discussion at this point in time, just because I want to make sure we're doing this right and legal, where no one gets in any kind of trouble somewhere down the line, because the way the world is now, everybody's out here like hammer chasers, and they look for some kind of thing to jump on somebody with, and I just don't like it myself. Personally, I want to make sure we're all covered.
I'm sorry, Mark, but I'd like to keep on talking about this.
is there a second, hang on, I'm working this right here. Is there a second to his deferring it? or-
Second.
Okay, so the motion is second to defer. Now, you want to amend that to speak? You want us to get
Oh,
a vote as to-
absolutely.
Okay, so she's not in agreement with that. Your motion is to continue debate,
Just a second.
discussion? All right, and so, but the motion is, and second is here, so I need,
We need to vote on this first.
yeah, I take it you're not going to accept her.
I want that voted on first.
Okay,
So that means it's not just a
right, okay. So, you can raise your hand when your name's called. You can go for or against, but the motion, the current motion and second on the floor for consideration is to defer this from any further discussion and get clarification from CTAS to be brought back to this body so that we're informed going forward, whatever happens in this process. Are we in agree that's the motion and the second?
For this to be a proper process to listen and make sure we all get together.
So if you're in favor of deferring this and not going any further today, can you raise your right hand? See if you can figure out how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is your hand up or down? Your
It's
hand's-
down.
It's down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is to, okay. So that is the majority, right? Okay, so, all right, so for now, that's on pause. Next month, we'll bring back what we can find from CCAS in regards to the process. All right, next item on the agenda. This matter's already, okay, we'll do that in next month whenever we bring it back up, okay? Because we've already deferred that, we're not going any further with that. So, thank you. All right, next item is report from solid waste.
We have the last canopy installed over the second compactor at El Bethel. This will help protect the equipment, plus get the attendant out of some of the inclement weather. Cameras for all the centers are next on our list to add for safety. We will also be extending the gate opening at Normandy Convenience Center to add about 10 feet to make it easier for citizens and for our trucks to get in and out. The main gate on 41A will remain closed. It is too much of a liability to open because of pulling into oncoming traffic. I've purchased mirrors for several of the centers to go on the buildings or awning posts so that they're not blindsided by traffic coming in and walk out in front of a vehicle. Some of our promotional items for Environmental Week, which is September the 26th through the 28th, have come in. They're drawstring backpacks for the kids and visors for the teachers and helpers with Nobody Trashes Tennessee logo. And as of right now, there's going to be about 1,400 kids that will attend this event this year. So that's an increase of nearly 200 students. Advertising for the Household Hazardous Waste event, September the 16th, 8 a.m. till noon at the Ag Center, will be in the Shelbyville Good News magazine, so most of you maybe have seen that advertisement there. Information is also listed on our Facebook, thanks to John Carney. And we will have some promotional items to give out at the HHWE. There'll be trash bags for your car. We're hoping for a good attendance. Tonnage from this event is also tracked by the state and added to our annual progress report. There is no charge for the state to pick up these hazardous items. And don't forget Duck River Cleanup, September the 16th. Come out, help, enjoy the day of doing something very beneficial, keeping Bedford County clean. It's behind the Shelbyville Power at the park back there. Starts at 7 a.m. And then we've just received regular calls of days of operation, tire pit time, and etc. Recycling dollar amount revenues was $10,814.71 for July, and recycling tonnage was 86.91. Landfill disposal costs $34,567.68, and the tonnage was 1,015.8 tons. Any questions? They're usually first through the third grade. Now, one year we did have some kindergartners, but I think it's going to be first through third this year. Any other questions? Thank you.
Up next is HR.
Good afternoon. The information that was in your packet from my department is reflective of personnel onboarding, offboarding data for the month of July. So what you all had included in regards to new hires and rehires, there were several of those, but they were across the board, including onboards for corrections, maintenance, fire department, animal control, juvenile detention. And then those individuals that are no longer with us, that data was in there for resignations. They were juvenile court, detention, fire, solid waste, and jail. In our job postings, of course, we still have correction officer positions that are available that we advertise for, a maintenance supervisor. We have a offer extended for the juvenile detention officer. I believe that will get them back to full staff. And we have recently filled the position with the finance department for payroll clerk, so those are good. And then you will see next month in your data on the new hires and onboards for the month of August data, the SROs that we discussed. I believe when I was here last month and reported to you all for the meeting, we were at 5. We are now at 7. So we have 2 more, and that's something that the Sheriff's Department's been actively working on. So we're filling those very quickly. So there will be 7 that I report about next month. And then, of course, I put in the visitor traffic, what our highest day of traffic was on our online social media and software forum. And I left the job board so you can see where all they get posted for no cost to the county just through the software. We have 22 different job boards that I've mentioned before. And then you have a list of my active and ongoing HR projects that I do monthly. And in addition to that, just working on online continuing education through a couple of different agencies. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Comment? Commissioners in the audience.
Okay, thank you.
Next up is House. She's in the house.
For the month of July, for our Archives and Records Department, we have been very busy with a lot of folks who are moving into the area and are very interested and excited about their historic houses that they purchased. They want to know when they are built or who owned it. I think usually they just want to know if there's a ghost in the building, but other than that, they are really enjoying, and we've helped a lot of those kind of new homeowners of historic houses. So we've been very busy with almost exclusively county citizens who are using the archives. We're working with our modern records, with the Record Center, with the trustees. We're continuing to pull their permanent records with their temporary records that can be removed and securely disposed. We're also now working more and more with Circuit Court out at the New Justice Center, and we're trying to get a really good handle on helping them with their files and materials that we're entering into all of the new shelving in the Record Center. And we continue to follow every CTAS rule and retention schedule for every type of record. We're working with planning and zoning and codes. They're going to have more and more, for example, plans and architectural drawings. And so we're making sure that the things that they have with the schools, we're going to make sure that those are available for the future. So those are the kind of things that we've been working on in the last month. And also we've had a very busy summer with tours of the courthouse, tours with the Coates folks that came through. And then we've done several workshops, and we had fun with Century Farm folks out at the fair. So Century Farms are also an incredibly popular research project in the last few months as well. So anyways, I think they like to come to the farm, Century Farm reception at the fair. So, any question?
Thank you so much. Next, architect report, and I would defer to Dr. Garrett, probably has the most activity.
Yes. Cartwright is coming right along. If you have driven by there, it is coming up. Roof should be up the material should be in August 28th. And so we're really excited about that. Community high school addition. The students are in it. We're just waiting on the locker. Supply chain problems there. So hopefully we could have all of you out for our ribbon cutting soon. And then we have the drawing for Thomas. And so hopefully we can have 4 rooms on it. And then I saw the Liberty drawing at the end of last week, 10 classrooms on Liberty. So we are excited
And that's coming up a little bit further on the agenda tonight.
Yeah.
Any other comments or thoughts regarding that? I know they're doing good work there. I know by having Bell Construction Management and having our owner rep on the ground, they're catching things and saving. In fact, I don't think we've even had a change order yet at Cartwright. Is that right?
That is correct. We're
And
in
that's
good
pretty
shape on
significant to this point. Not to say we won't have one, but that's significant to be this far into it.
that. They're very impressive as to their efficiency and how they've worked with us.
And it's fantastic. Any other comments? Now we're on to monthly reports.
You've got a copy of your monthly financial report, and I wanted to say there's not a lot of activity in the month of July. A lot of the revenues are actually receivables and recorded in the month of June, so we pulled those out. That's why it looks like that's such a small amount. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If not, I'll move on to the next area. Any questions? I did an analysis of property tax collections and also sales tax. All of these were receivables except the prior year tax collection. So that's the only item in this report. It's on page 1 at the bottom. We are $21,000 less than the same time last year as far as collecting the prior year. And then next, you've got an analysis of expenditures. These are just various expenditures. A lot of it's in-service fuel, things like that. The average is 8.33% for 1 month. And if anything is above that, it's in red. Don't want you to panic when you see the in-service and travel, because a lot of that's done at the beginning of the year versus the end of the year, so that percentages will be higher. And
These reflect purchase orders, not necessarily what's spent out at
that's
the
true.
moment.
It's cash, it's checks written and purchase orders. So when we commit it, it's included in this number. And for instance, the food for the cafeteria at schools, that's a large number because it's got purchase orders in it.
That will carry for several months.
That's correct.
So, any comments or questions on that? All right, so are we going to the EMS report and then approval on it? Okay, so EMS, if you'll come up.
So our July, it's been fairly busy. We've been preparing for the horse show, the biggest event of the year. And between that and the high school football games, every available resource that we have will be in use over the next 2 weeks. So we hope for a good show and a good couple of weeks. That's all I've got. In addition to your report, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Heat taking in toll.
We are picking up a few heat-related injuries, but not a whole lot yet. Getting ready for the rest of the week.
Thank you. All right, so I need a motion to approve all the reports. All right, motion second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, next item is surplus property, Board of Education, and that document's in front of you.
We did have an addition that came from the school board after we sent this out, so
Okay.
it was handed out.
Do I have it? Is it-
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got it. What about- this one, it should have-
So both of
Yeah.
these together.
Yeah. Is that right? Okay.
Move
So-
to approve the circulars.
All right. Motion second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Next item on the agenda is building projects. And we've got it labeled here as Liberty School Addition, the Juvenile Detention Center, and the surplus property facility. We've received a letter that you'll see from the school board saying they're ready to go to the next phase on the Liberty School Addition project. We budgeted and we're ready to continue moving on the juvenile detention facility. And we're ready to also have a path to deal with the surplus facility, assuming the commission wants to continue on this path. So the purpose of this would be send it to the commission for an endorsement. All this winds up back in front of the commission in the end because there'll be a budget dollar amount that would have to be borrowed in relation to these. So this allows us to go to the next step of due diligence. And would you agree with that from your side on the school as well? Right, we're well into all these projects, but we don't want to go further until we have the confirmation from the commission that they understand these projects are continuing. And then the final will be whenever they actually will approve or disapprove a dollar amount, because these all have to be bid and fine-tuned before it comes back. And of course, a note issue, which is the end game for the commission. Does everybody understand that? So is there a motion to send these to the commission?
Second.
All right, motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The next item is a resolution, and I know our county banker's here with me, with resolution from the state so that we can start the process of the low-income elderly tax relief. And so if we can get a motion second, we'll let her clarify. Is there- All right, motion second. So now, is there anything you want to say or clarify about why we need this or what this will do for you out of your office? Oh, yeah, sorry. School teacher thing.
Can't stand it.
The resolution as follows with any change that we make within county banking, whether it's partial payments or, it's just good grace with the comptroller's office, it's good county business, it's good record keeping to reference back to decision making, and good audit standard. So,
Following audit process.
yes, audit standard.
And Robert, is there-
I actually talked to CPAS about this, and they recommended that we do a resolution.
Would you have this one ready to go?
Ready to go.
Once the commission passes this, assuming the commission passes it, passed in the budget, then that will greenlight you to actually start bringing people into the program under the deadlines for
Yes.
relief.
Yes, we plan to start mailing vouchers out September 1.
So you wouldn't need anything else from this body, meaning the commission or the finance committee, if this is approved by the county commission. You could go forward with it.
Yes, because it's already been voted upon.
Perfect.
Yes, we're just ready.
Include the other that we're adding on to what we did as a supplemental.
That's
That's
what
low-
it is.
Yeah, that's what this is. This is the low income
This
tax
is
relief.
the supplemental.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where we're going to match with the state.
Yes,
Okay,
it
okay.
is a
I'm
state
clear now.
program, and what they have under that equalization ratio, and as I said, every year that'll change a little bit, but this year is $118, so this resolution is about matching, county matching.
With the state.
What the
If they
state
don't
is-
qualify under the state, they would not get the match from us.
Correct.
If they meet those standards, which you already administer those programs.
Yes,
It would just be a matter of they would then qualify for the county to give that relief.
yes.
And we're excited to do that. That's the first
We
time
are.
we've been able
Thank
to
y'all
be a
so
big help
much.
to them.
Um,
Sure.
Thank,
All right. So we have motion and second. Any other comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Other business. Did I miss anything? Okay. How about announcements? What? All right. Commissioner Johnson, go ahead. What?
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone on behalf of my family for all the condolences on the passing of my father. He was a county commissioner several times. We appreciate that. Number two, thank you, Sylvia. On behalf of the board of directors at the celebration, we'd like to invite everybody to come on out. Watch them, run and walk on for the next 11 nights, starting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Any other announcements? All right. How about a motion to adjourn?
Move to approve.
Second. Got it. All right. Thank you. We're adjourned.